What is going on, YouTube people? Today, a little bit of newsy news from friend of the channel, COMC.com, something that has been long asked for and long awaited by a lot of people since COMC fired back up these grading partnerships again. They used to do Beckett way back in the day. They haven't done that for a while. They spun back up CGC. They added PSA at the beginning of last year, and now the final arrow in the quiver, SGC, is up on the old COMC. This is not open up wide yet. More on that in a minute, but before we dive too deep, today's video is sponsored by our good friends over at COMC.com. Your home for buying, selling millions of cards and the option to directly grade them. And now the hobbies, I don't want to say, I mean, PSA is obviously the favorite grader, but a lot of people have a lot of love for SGC and will be excited about this launching on that platform. Let's go ahead and dive into the details a little bit. Once again, not everybody has this yet. It is going wide in early December. For the first month it is out, you can see you may or may not have gotten this email. Based on my 2024 sales, I have been chosen. They have bequeathed me as getting access to this. So the devil is in the details, as always. $16 a card, 4-week turnaround time is what they are estimating. And then, they do say that, SGC could potentially upcharge. I know SGC doesn't usually upcharge very, very often. If you send some crazy vintage card in, obviously you could get it on that side of things. If you are curious on how to grade on COMC, if you search COMC and grading on the channel, I have done a full walkthrough on that through the PSA side of things, and I think CGC when those launched. So those are up on the channel. You could find it if you want a step-by-step guide on how to grade on COMC. It is super easy. So what's the use case for this? I think the immediate angle is, one, if you just like grading with SGC, this is now an option on the platform if you want to go that route. Does it open things up? And, raw vintage is always scary, especially when you can't see it in person. Would you be more willing to dabble in raw vintage if you could directly send it to SGC through the platform before you had it shipped home? I don't know. Maybe. The other kind of side angle on this is, I wonder if this hurts CGC at all. CGC gets a pretty decent amount of business from COMC. If you look, there's a lot of CGC auctions that are usually ending. So I wonder if this kind of creeps into their territory a little bit, that they've kind of niched out over on COMC. With, if you wanted cheap grading and faster turnaround times, your best option on there was CGC. Like I said, SGC has a very loyal fan base. I wonder if they steal a little bit of that business. Now, if you are going to grade through COMC, one thing to keep in mind, it is not going to be the fastest. Though it's a 4-week turnaround time, there is some added time on the front and back end of that because they have to pull it, they have to batch it up and ship it. Then it has to go to the grading company. Then the grading company has to do their thing. Then they have to ship it back to COMC. And then COMC needs to sort through that shipment and put it back into your account. So speed is not one of the primary attributes for using this. Ease 100% is. I've gotten multiple cards, dozens probably, graded through various relationships, both with PSA and CGC, through this portal, and it is extremely easy to use. But I am almost always, for myself personally, and like I said, mileage may vary on this, I'm using it a lot for PC stuff. For example, I bought a Spider-Gwen not quite a PMG. It's called Light FX from a Spider-Man Metal raw on COMC, and it's probably like an 8.5, 9. They're pretty tough grades on those cards. They're very condition sensitive, and I just wanted it in a CGC slab, so I just sent it direct through them and use my store credit, and then it'll get shipped back to them, and then I'll probably have it shipped home from there. So that's how I typically like to use it. But I do wonder if a lot of the stuff that was going to CGC now goes to SGC. That will be something to kind of watch / keep an eye on, over the coming months. That's not something we're going to see right away. It's going to take time for this stuff to filter down. I probably won't see that till early next year, in all honesty, because right now only a few people have access to this. But at the end of the day, if you're a COMC user, this costs you absolutely nothing extra just for it existing on the platform. Obviously, if you want to grade with it, it does. So just having more options available on the platform is not a bad thing. And $16 a grade obviously is a little bit more expensive than what you're going to get doing it on your own. But like I said, the ease of operation here, and also not requiring having to hit certain minimums for certain price thresholds and that sort of thing, makes life easy as well. And I know, one of the comments I always get when I talk about grading on COMC is people saying there's no way I'm grading a card without seeing it in hand. And I know plenty of people, myself that included, have gotten very good grades on raw purchases on COMC. I had a Spider-Gwen short print from the Spider-Verse movie, very hard to hit, come back a pristine 10 through that. So you could definitely get good grades grading through there. I've seen plenty of people buy something raw, send it in, it hits a PSA 10, and they sell it for, a pretty strong profit on there. But I think, like I said, I think the angles for SGC here are possibly vintage, just because a lot of people like vintage and SGC slabs. And also, I think a lot of the cards that were going to CGC, you're going to start seeing show up in SGC slabs. So I'll be curious to kind of see how that ends up playing itself out. That is all I have for you, boys and girls, today. As always, very curious for your thoughts and comments down below regarding this. Have you tried grading on COMC, and what was your experiences like? Whether it's stuff you sent in or things you purchased raw, how did it go for you? I'm always curious of feedback. I know how it was for myself. I can only speak for myself in regards to how things went. But if you had a good, bad, or indifferent story grading through COMC, feel free to fire that away down below to share it with the rest of the world, so anyone watching this video can scroll down there and see what other user experiences are like. It's valuable information for myself and for anyone else that may view this video, that they could kind of get a feel for how it worked, not just for me. Like I said, other than it being a little bit slower, that's the only real issue I had, but I don't really consider that an issue, because I knew that going in, that it was probably going to take more time than what I was used to for a grading submission. The other thing that I would like to see, and I've talked to them about this, it would be nice to have some sort of tracking in regards to kind of where your card is at in the queue, like in the workflow on the Pete's tracker, for lack of a better term. Like, has it even shipped out yet? Okay, it's arrived. I don't know that I need it as detailed as PSA gives you, but just some general information saying it has shipped out. It is currently in the grading process, like it's been checked in by the grading company, and maybe something that says it's on its way back, so you at least know it's kind of getting close. But other than that, those are my only little minor gripes with COMC and grading. For the most part, I've had a fairly positive experience, and them adding SGC is a net positive for everybody involved. So that's all I got. Catch you, boys and girls, on the next one. Peace.